What's up, everybody? Shawn here with another live Live to Roll. We got a fun show for you guys this week. Talking to Diana from Include Design. So we'll get into intros and topic and everything here in a second. But Shawn, I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 19 years ago. Bobby, you want to do a little intro?
I do. My name's Bobby Rohan. I'm a C5/6 quadriplegic here in Fountain Valley, Huntington Beach, California. And before we turn it over to our guest today, and our other host here, Tom, is running a little behind, so he'll join us very soon. But let me get some sponsors out of the way. Our sponsors for today, you know them, mobility professionals and urology professionals. Mobility professionals, if you live here in the Southern California area, and you're blessed with this weather because today was a beautiful day, and you're able to get service and go down, or they come to you and they can meet you for your catheter and wheelchair needs. In fact, I have mobility professionals here today. They changed my tires, they changed my hand rims, they delivered a second cushion for me because I didn't have my backup. So it was awesome, and I didn't have to drive anywhere. They came to me, took care of everything. But I know a lot of you are not in the Southern California area, so urology professionals, you can call them for your urology needs, and hopefully they can take your insurance. And I know some of our loyal listeners, like Roy, he was able to switch over and got urology professionals in 15 minutes. So thank you, Roy, for that. And one last thing, if you are here in the Southern California, we have so much going on here coming up. This Saturday, we have our Rancho games down in California at Rancho Los Amigos Hospital. So if you want to come out and be a part of some wheelchair sports and play many different types of sports, basketball, rugby, over the line, we have obstacle course, basketball, hockey. We do it all. So come out, try to join us. And they also have a lot of fun games and vendors that are going to be there. The following weekend on the 14th is our Over the Line tournament at Balboa Park. And that is a form of baseball. So if you've never played, hit me up. I can tell you all about it. I'm an 8-time world champion
World
back in the
champion. I think 8-time Valley champion.
Hey, I'll bring over my mugs, but yeah, that's when we used to have it in San Diego, and it was a lot bigger, buddy.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, and then the following weekend there is a basketball clinic for those who are interested in basketball, and the following November 4th is our big sports festival coming up in Pasadena. So, lots to happen here in Southern California. So,
All right.
hit me up on Instagram if you want to.
All right, guys. So yeah, get us message us on Instagram if you're anywhere in the local area. All the events are free, so please come out, check them out. They're great for the disability community. All right, Diana. Sorry, we got a little bit of that going on with the intros and stuff, but let's introduce Diana now. Do you want to just introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself, and kind of like how you got into making adaptive products?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Diana Kamada. I'm the CEO of Include Design, and we are a product design company specializing in the needs of people with disabilities. I am not a wheelchair user myself, but I am a part of the disability community. I have visible disabilities, and I got into working in adaptive design several years ago when I was in college. So, I studied mechanical engineering and industrial design as an undergrad. And one of those years, I also took a class on the history of disability justice with this awesome professor, Sarah Skeels. And I was her TA the following year for that class because it was just so awesome. And I really, really enjoyed learning about all the different kinds of disabilities and history of the movement and all that. And we were sitting outside because it was a beautiful day, and she was eating an apple as we were kind of discussing what was going to happen that class. And when she finished her apple, there were no trash cans around. So she had to take it inside with us to throw it out. And unfortunately, she had some trouble with that. She just tried to put the core on her lap, but it kept rolling off. And so eventually, she let me carry it for her. But it was really clear that she would have preferred to not need my help. And so that was the first moment that I kind of realized as a non-wheelchair user how difficult it can be to carry or hold your belongings while you're also needing to maneuver your chair. So, I looked online. I was like, surely this is a simple problem. There's got to be a solution. And, there are some wheelchair bags that will go on, if you have an arm of your chair or the back of your chair, but nothing really seemed like it would fit um, Sarah's needs. So I was taking my engineering capstone course at the time and figured this is a good opportunity to design something that would help Sarah with some of her daily tasks. And so I had a friend of mine that had her younger brother had previously been a temporary wheelchair user after I think like a snowboarding accident, I believe. And she had remembered that it was really difficult during that time for their family to travel together because of needing to, roll the suitcases and push the chair. And so we asked Sarah, is this a problem for you that we could design something for? So we wanted obviously to work with somebody who is currently having the issue, not somebody who, used to have a problem in the past. And she said, not really, no, I carry a duffel bag. And if I need more than that, I've got a husband. So we said, all right, well, but she said, grocery shopping is actually a huge issue for me. I have a really hard time grocery shopping. And it was something that I would really love to be able to do by myself or more independently. So, can we design something for that? And so it started as just a school project to help a favorite professor, and it's kind of spiraled from there.
That's awesome. That's really cool
Yeah.
that you got into it like that. What does she think of the product now? Have you given her? Does she try it? Does she use it for shopping?
Oh yeah, she loves it. She's awesome. I gave her, originally at the end of the semester, I just gave her that first prototype that we had made. That, looking back, was kind of a little sad, but we tried very hard. We just didn't have great materials. But I gave her it to the end of the semester, and she actually said, "No, I can't take this. You're not done." And I was like, "What do you mean? I made it. I can make you a better version." And she goes, "No, I'm not the only wheelchair user with this problem. You need to make this a real thing." And so she gave me the prototype back and said, "Give me the one from the first run." And so I still have that prototype, and I have since made her a much better one. They're professionally manufactured now, but she is kind enough to invite me to come talk to that class that I was her TA for each year and kind of talk to the students about my experience and about the importance of accessible design. And I'm actually going to go talk to them again next week. So yeah, she has been super supportive and was really lovely to introduce me to a lot of other local wheelchair users when I was doing testing and other, community members since then.
Awesome. So, what makes the bag so specially designed? And tell us about some of the features.
Of course. So I have my handy dandy lap snap here. As you can see, it's about the same size as one of the plastic hand baskets that you might find in the grocery store. I know they're less common a little bit now because of COVID, but that was what Sarah was using before the lap snap existed. And so that was kind of the size that she was used to for, how many groceries she wanted to get. So on the front, you've got this strap with a buckle, and there's an additional piece that you can buckle into, and then that will really help it stay secure. So Sarah's biggest problem when grocery shopping, she would use one of the plastic hand baskets that the grocery store provided, but then, she'd put a gallon of milk on one side and a bag of bread on the other, and suddenly it's falling off of her lap. Or she'd go around a corner too fast and it would fall, and then all her groceries were on the floor. So this goes around either your waist, under your legs, through the arms of your chair if you have them, or for a lot of quads, we see them prefer it to be around their shoulders, so they don't have to worry about the buckles, but I will talk more about that in a moment. And it kind of sits on your lap and then attaches around your body like a giant fanny pack. We've got some pockets in the front here for your phone, wallet, and keys, so you don't have to worry about losing your shopping list while you're grocery shopping or when you get to checkout. It has a collapsible frame, so when you're not using the lap snap, you can just pop out these little metal pieces
Oh, that's
like
cool.
that, and flatten it so it can easily go in your car, hang on your chair, um, whatever's easiest. It's got a food safe plastic rigid base in the bottom to help distribute the weight, but it's also got a really nice thick layer of padding underneath to help avoid any restriction of blood flow to the legs or pressure sores. And there's a waterproof cover, so uh, when you're not or when you're using it for anything in inclement weather, your groceries or anything else you're carrying will be protected. Like I said, it was originally designed for grocery shopping, but we've had a lot of people use it for other stuff since our original testing. So going to school or work with your laptop and papers you don't want to get wet, household chores, gardening, anything like that. Um, it's been really wonderful to see how everybody has used it for different things.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
cool. Do you get a lot of feedback from customers and stuff that have bought it, sharing some of the different uses and stuff they found for it? Then.
Yeah, so we did an original user test. Well, before the pandemic, we were meeting people in person in grocery stores, but obviously that ended pretty quickly with the emergence of COVID. I'm immunocompromised, and obviously a lot of our community is immunocompromised. So I sewed 10 of them on my dinky little home sewing machine and sent them to wheelchair users around the country. And that was the first kind of time that I realized how versatile people would find it. Because a lot of people, weren't even going grocery shopping in store at that point, especially our community. And so they were using it for, laundry, cooking, picking up after their pets or children, or, taking their stuff to school or work, gardening, anything. You gotta, carry a lot of little items. And yeah, people have found it really helpful. And I absolutely love to see pictures of people using it for anything at all. But I think my most recent was I got some from apple picking and from like a fall fair kind of vibe where, getting into fall now. So I love to see it used out and about in the community as well.
Right, I can see out in your Massachusetts area, Boston, you get the fall. We don't have to worry about it as much. But I can also see it if, Roy says, a couple things, unloading the dishwasher, going camping. And then I can also see uh, carrying firewood in, things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, for I can see. I'm sure there's a ton of uses. It does look really durable. I checked one out when we were at the Rolettes thing. That's what we were next to Diana for the Rolettes experience. We had our booth. We were hanging out with her all weekend there.
Awesome.
That was when we first met. And yeah, the I know Brianna has one and has been trying it and using it. Tom, I don't know if that's why he's running late, but I know he was out earlier doing some grocery shopping and like trying to get some videos of it.
Oh,
So, um, so we'll see. Maybe drop the camera or something, trying to do something. We'll see. But anyways, that's just it's a really cool product. Did you? How long after? You said you were like, are you graduated then and everything? Are you now fully just moving on? You're just in design. Um, is it mainly just you doing design, or do you have any other people in the company that help you with stuff? And I know you said you have a couple other designs you're working on for different things. So yeah, you want to just talk about who else? Oh, now here we go. Tom is actually joining in now. Let me add Tom real quick, guys. If I can get my. All right. Tom is in. But yeah, what's up, Tom? I don't know if you
Hey
want to
there.
do a quick little intro. I was just asking Diana about just what kind of like after she graduated and stuff, kind of like starting the company and if what she's working on now. But
What's up, everybody? Hey, Shawn. Hey, Bobby. Hi, Diana. Great to see you again. Sorry for being late, everybody. Not even going to try to excuse it because it's not worth explaining. But I'm here, and that's all that matters. And we're talking Inclu and the lap snap. Heck yeah. We're also talking adaptive and assistive technology with an expert. So it sounds like you guys are diving into it. a little bit, and I don't want to be a bump in the road. So if you want to continue, Diana, go right ahead, and then we can dive on in. I got my lap snap here to talk about it a little bit more in detail, show some things off, and then talk about my experience with it. And yeah.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, so Shawn had a lot of questions in one there, but I
I
think I
did.
will
Sorry
try to
about
hit them all.
that.
So, oh, you're good. We started this. The school project was in 2019, fall of 2019, and we started it as a real company in February of 2020. So, maybe not the best timing in the world, but I originally designed the lap snap with two other students that I went to college with, and they have since moved on to full-time gigs, which there was a pandemic. They got paid, no grudges there. And I have been very fortunate to have a bunch of wonderful volunteers, interns, and independent contractors that I work with in various aspects. But at this point, I am the only full-time person. So we've been doing it for 3.5 years, and excuse me. Guess what we've got next? So, in addition to the standard lap snap, I did want to mention, since I know a lot of your audience is also quadriplegic, we have the limited upper limb mobility edition of the lap snap, which basically we put the lap snap out in. I guess we released it on Kickstarter in May of 2021, which was awesome. People were super positive and validating, and we hit our goal in a week. So it became a real boy. But some of the feedback that we got was from the quad community saying, I would really love to see a version with these changes. And so I was like, oh yeah, of course, like let's hear about that. So because of the kind of wide range of individuals' mobility and dexterity levels, we did some research and we did a bunch of user testing with people with different kind of injury levels, different dexterity and mobility challenges. And we realized that it didn't really make sense to do a standard version for that part of the community. And so if you go on a website, you'll see a page that's called LULM Lap Snap. It's the Limited Upper Limb Mobility Lap Snap. And basically, we'll do a free consultation with anyone who's considering that product to talk about their individual dexterity and mobility and see what kind of adaptations that we offer might be useful for them, or if they have something that we haven't done before, but we're always willing to try something new. So some of the ones that are, pretty easy are switching out the parachute clips for magnetic clasps, adding loops to the frame or the cover so that it's easier to grab, anything like that. Adding a longer strap if they want to put it around their shoulders instead of their waist. But we've also done, we've had like padding on the handles. So I think I showed that part up, but there's these like side handles. So you can like lift the whole thing up off your lap and onto the conveyor belt if you want. But a couple people that we've had so far have had trouble grabbing those straps because they're a little bit thin. And so we added some like padding to those straps. But basically, I do those adaptations myself. So anything that somebody thinks might make the lap snap better for their individual use, I'm always willing to try.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
and that's what I was gonna say. That's what's probably like most exciting. I remember talking to you at not only the Abilities Expo, but also the Rolettes experience, and um, speaking to engineers and individuals in the space of developing these tools. Having that open mind, having kind of the mindset that it's a very ongoing process, accessibility, and that like every injury is different, everybody's level of function is different, and yeah, sometimes, very often, that means continuing to adapt, continuing to develop, and make it inclusive for everybody, which is very very cool. It was something that like really really stood out to me when I first spoke to you, Diana. So, and you can see it and you can feel it in some of the products. I mean, you could just tell that many many aspects were considered, and it's just very cool and exciting to hear that if somebody has an idea or um, you know has a concern over maybe their ability to use it, they can contact you because it's just so far and few between these days talking to companies and trying to navigate this world of accessible devices.
Yeah, definitely. As I was saying earlier, I studied mechanical engineering and industrial design in my undergrad, and after taking that course on the history of disability justice was when I really started to focus in on pursuing adaptive design as a career. But then when we got to, senior spring and I'm trying to find a job, I couldn't really find a accessible design agency. I couldn't find a company that was just focusing on assistive technology, and that was really what I felt really strongly that I wanted to do. And then, of course, pretty soon into my job search, there was this pandemic, and I'm immunocompromised. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I can even have a regular job right now. So the silver lining of that was that I was able to pursue Inclu full time and really bring the lap snap to life. And because, yeah, I think my personal experience being part of the community and my experience, studying industrial design, I really feel like so little thought is given in design and engineering education to the disability community. And it's something that I have worked really hard, even though I'm only, not that many years out of school. It's something that I am really passionate about. And so I really enjoy when I get to go talk to classes. I've gotten to talk to a couple of college and high school classes locally about my experience and about the importance of assistive technology. But so often I feel like we don't consider people with disabilities needs until like the very end of the process, if at all. And so I really wanted to have the, thesis of Include Design be that we work directly with individuals with disabilities, whatever disability we're designing for, at every stage of the design process. And so we have really done that with the Lap Snap, and I really intend to do that going forward with any other products in the future because it has made the Lap Snap way better than I could have ever made it on my own.
And I mean, what you spoke to, I think, is really important in that accessibility is very often an afterthought, or if it is a thought earlier in the process, I feel like it's an individual with personal experience with disability or a very close person in their life who experiences disability that it's ever even brought to the table. And it feels like even amongst big companies, um, companies like Google, companies like Apple, you know, Nike, I mean, you keep going. The biggest companies in the world that make the most products that we utilize on a daily basis, it's still very much an afterthought, or it's a PR stunt, and that maybe they did get feedback, or maybe a family member or a friend did bring something up, and then it's like, okay, let's make one little niche product that is ADA related, and we'll shill it out to make our company look good. And I don't know. I think it's kind of sad and unfortunate, but I think the way that we change it is just what you said. Um, Teach and continue to have the conversation with other fellow engineers, new engineers that are up and coming, and continue to talk to companies too, because I don't know. I am maybe throwing a big blanket over everybody. I'm sure it's not as bad as that, and I know that certain bigger companies maybe do more in the process of accessibility and equitability, but it very much feels like a small attempt in comparison to what it should be in what you just said, a conversation from the very start. I think also it's in the benefit of uh, anybody and everybody in the field of design and development to also do that, because it just opens your mind. It grants different perspective, and it is, I think, essential in kind of not limiting yourself when designing or creating things, is to just do exactly that. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and really think about the user experience in a very different way that I don't think a lot of people consider. So that's exciting to hear that you've been able to speak to some classrooms and some future engineers too, because I'm sure it does make a huge effect. And I think it's the only way to make a difference in the future too, is to just, well, you said, keep on talking about it.
Yeah, well, I certainly hope so. And that is one of my other future goals for Include Design. I have been starting with, producing different kind of products in house, but I would really love to kind of expand our design consultancy in the future. I won't name names, but there are a lot of companies that have been in the news lately for those exact kind of like PR stunts, or they tried, but they didn't really talk to people. And so it, kind of blew up in their face, or it didn't actually become a real product anybody could buy. It was just an idea or concept that they put out. I remember there was recently one, a certain makeup brand got in trouble because they were like, oh, we made this line of our face creams accessible, and they just put braille on the top of all of them, but the braille for all of them was the same, and it just said face cream. It's like, cool, you tried this much. So I would love to have Include be able to help companies like that in the future do a better job.
Yeah. And also, um, I don't know, I think it does promote and inspire companies to also maybe hire more individuals with disabilities as well. The ones that best know and understand, the needs of accessibility and inclusivity are obviously, the ones living with the disabilities. So here's to continue the conversation and hoping that companies do more of that, more talking, but also maybe more, hiring disabled individuals to, be included in the process from the start. Because honestly, I think that's the best way to do it, is just make sure to have, individuals that understand true accessibility needs on the team. And then, it's, I think pretty simple moving forward. But, everything's money nowadays, right? And accessibility, I think, does cost a little bit more. Um, and I don't know, that's the other part of accessible and adaptive technology that is very discouraging to me. I've utilized things all my life, and I don't know, even able to utilize some things like when I think of makeup, I think mostly the accessibility hindrance is maybe when applying it or even opening the darn containers. Now, I don't personally use makeup too often unless I got a blemish or a zit I got to cover. But I don't know, opening up a makeup container is something I would imagine like be like a pill bottle or something like that. Now, I started buying the arthritis friendly pill bottles for elderly people who, have pain and trouble, squeezing and doing like the child safety seal. And I didn't even know those existed. Or maybe it's a new thing, but then the thought occurred in my head, why hasn't something like this existed for the disabled population for the last 30 or 40 years? I mean, like a little plastic cap that, is like more user friendly, I feel like, is just a no brainer.
Yeah.
Tom, I hate to tell you, I've been using for my pharmacies for 25 years.
Well, that was, just my bad, I guess, not
Not and but
insurance.
they don't tell you unless you request it. So for anybody that doesn't know, you just go to your pharmacy and you just have to request it, and they're like, "Yep," and they put it in. They put it on your chart, and so every time you get something, it's pop.
And I think this also like comes into like where does inclusivity and like equality start and stop, and should it stop in even like advertisements and stuff? Like why isn't there uh, advertisements that these are disabled, disability friendly, or these are just simply accessible, you know? Because how is anybody even supposed to know in the first place? And I think that's just a very important thing in like representing ourselves everywhere and in everything, not just, I mean, it's nice to see that things have changed and that things are changing more for the better, but I think it just really speaks to the point of how important it is to be represented and to represent everybody, because I think sometimes it comes down to like uh, you can end up limiting individuals by not making things like that available or even making them known. Um, but anyways, I don't want to get too off the rails here. We are talking about the lap snap specifically, and sometimes the time can slip away. So is it cool if we talk about it a little bit and show it off?
Of course.
Um, so the lap snap's original inspiration was, forgive me if I'm speaking incorrectly, but was to help make shopping, carrying things easier.
Yep.
Is that correct? Now, it's cool. I highly encourage everybody to go to the website. It's just lapsnap.com. Is that correct, Diana?
It's thelapsnap.com. And actually,
Yeah,
for all of your listeners tonight, if they use code live to roll, all one word, they can get $25 off. So go check it out.
awesome. Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate you making that available to our audience. And Sean will make sure to put the link in the description below.
The
So
link is
if
already
you
in
know,
the description. Yeah, I have the website linked already for
uh,
sure.
after the show, you can click on the link. I highly encourage you to go to the website and check it out. They maybe have some better pictures or videos or details. My camera person wasn't available, unfortunately. I do have a literal video that's going to be going up on the Instagram too to kind of show off a shopping experience using LapSnap. But for now, we're just going to talk about it, and I'm going to go through it. So, one super nice thing, it's collapsible. I'm going to back up a little bit here. I wanted to turn it flat facing out so you guys could see the Inclu logo when it's popped up. But I'm going to keep this flip for now. And just when it comes to storing things, I live in a studio apartment. I have a very limited space, so anytime something's easier to store because it can collapse down, I'm always excited and here for it. So let's snap this bad boy up. Um, it has two brackets just off to the side. You guys can see one of the brackets, or I guess both of them right there. These slide into a little ridge on the, I want to call this bottom board. I call it a cutting. I just call it a cutting board. I've been tempted to take it out a couple of times and use it as a cutting board, but it's just a
You
solid
can.
base.
It's food
Um,
safe. It's made of the same HDPE that your cutting board is. So if you spill some food in your lap snap, it's not a problem. You can just wipe it down and you're good to go.
And that's super awesome considering you're mostly using this shopping and stuff, and even shopping sometimes, you can break an egg or, squish a fruit or something. So being able to easily uh, remedy that, clean it up is, again, super important. But just pops up just like so. I am quadriplegic, as you all probably know right now or by now. And I do have limited upper body mobility. When I go shopping, the way that I do it, sometimes I'll grab a shopping basket. But fun fact, my local Vons made baskets recently unavailable. You have to go ask one of the workers or the attendants for like one of the smaller baskets. Only carts are available now. I guess this was like a post-pandemic choice, and I don't know how that's a logical line of thinking, but regardless, what I usually end up doing, and this was even before the baskets, is I would often just stack the groceries on my lap the best I could. And I'd be good for the first couple of items, but once I got to the drinks and once I got to, the bottles of liquid or the heavier things, they'd be slipping and sliding all over the place. They'd be slipping and sliding down on my feet. They'd be sliding off my lap or off to the side and onto the ground. And I'd be asking store attendants. I'd be asking, random Samaritans in the grocery store for assistance or for help. Um, Even with the lap snap, sometimes I will still do that. If I don't know, like half the aisles are not accessible because of just the height of the items on the shelves. So sometimes I still rely on the kindness of strangers to help me reach certain things. Or I do the hit and the pray method, where I just smack something that's high up above me, and I hope that I can catch it, and then it falls on my lap. Um, Now, the lap snap is a solution to that. Even using a grocery store basket, I'd say one of the biggest complaints is they're very tall. The bottom of the basket's like right here at my chin. So, one, I'm just kind of having trouble getting the stuff up and over the sides of the baskets, which was a real struggle for certain heavier items, especially if I was like going from low up high. But um, it was also just really inconvenient, inaccessible, and difficult having it that high. This is a little bit lower, as you guys can see. I just have room to kind of hang my arms into it to easily pop over, access it. And it's just really as simple as stacking your groceries. Sometimes I knock things into it. I've used the lap snap twice now shopping, and it's been pretty cool. Beyond the collapsible nature, just the kind of convenient, solid feeling of the lap snap on my lap. I mean, I can sit hands free, and I can cruise, and I can drive. I don't have to worry about it slipping and holding. You guys can kind of see it shift on my lap. Now, that becomes an issue as soon as I put some weight into it. So, as soon as I start shopping, if it does lean forward at all, that could spell disaster for me. But it's been considered. There's this really cool strap. The straps are very customizable, um, but I just throw it around my neck just like so, and now I can be really hands free. If I'm reaching, I'm grabbing, I don't have to worry about it. If it starts to slip forward, I'm solid. It's really super secure on my neck. I haven't found any issues utilizing the handles on both sides. I like that there's handles on both sides. Sometimes, a couple times I picked it up off the ground. I've used my grabber just to hook one of the handles and lift it up relatively easily. And I haven't dropped anything, or I haven't dropped a lap snap once while I've been shopping. I'm not going to say that that won't happen, but I do think that it's made my shopping experience easier. Just the fact that I'm not dancing or like juggling with store items kind of all around my lap, like I just don't have to worry about it as much. I will turn and show off another little cool aspect that I like. I've always headphoned up. I have my phone. I got YouTube video or some music or something going, and normally I'll just keep it resting on my lap. Um, Let me kind of put this up, just like so. You can see how I leave my phone right here on my lap. Now, when I have the basket on my lap, like the first thing to go is the phone always slips between my legs and slides down on my feet. There is a really awesome, convenient little pocket right here, and I'm gonna turn to show this off a little bit better. You guys can see my phone just sits right in there. I can put my phone in there. I can put my keys in there. Once I'm ringed up and the person comes and sets the bags in my lap snap or hooks them on my chair, I can just shove my receipt in there. And I can even keep my wallet and stuff in there, which just saves me time and a little bit of convenience. I never remember to have my wallet out until I'm at the register. And there's usually a lot of people, and I'm already struggling to get all my items onto the conveyor belt. With the lap snap, I just set it on the conveyor belt. I slid the whole thing over, and it was just super easy. I didn't have to go one by one and like put all the items. The lady at the um, checkout stand has been really cool every time, and he's even complimented the bag, saying how cool and creative and awesome an idea that was. So ABs are kind of recognizing it too, which is super super cool. And then last but certainly not least, in regards to function, it's got a cool cover. So if you need to protect anything from the weather, it's got some Velcro, and it just keeps all your stuff protected. while you're rolling home. I don't have any issues with this rolling on my lap. Home, like I said, the biggest issue I've had is just things maybe being too tall on my lap, impairing my vision or ability to see. This is really convenient. I do got to say, when I've had some groceries in there and I have my bags and stuff, the bags can kind of stand up, but the covers made it really easy. I can just push the handles down, put the flap over, and then I'm good to go. And I don't know, it's like a mile route, like probably a mile each way to the grocery store. And I haven't had any issues rolling that distance, either just with the lap snap or with my groceries. And this strap honestly saved me a couple times cruising, just because I get a little, I go fast and dipping down curb cutouts and stuff. Like it just adds, I don't know, it adds stability. It's like um, a way of kind of locking onto your lap without, having any other way to secure it. Like this is just so simple and convenient and easy to just toss over your neck and then toss off when you're done. So that's my little review. Like I said, we do have a video that's going to be coming out on our Instagram in the next couple of days, just with some groceries in it, kind of showing how I utilize it. I want to show you guys putting items in, getting them out of the bag, and kind of out in the wild, how it's functioning, and how it can benefit you. But I do gotta say, it's really cool, Diana. I've even been trying to like think and brainstorm um, additional ways to improve upon it. I don't really don't have an issue with Velcro. I've been dealing with Velcro most of my life because magnets were really accessible or affordable or included in many devices. So I'm not so sure that um, magnets be a game changer for me, but I know they certainly could be and would be for a lot of people, especially with limited fine motor stuff. I kind of end up just using my teeth or shoving my hand in there and just like yanking it. That's been no problem for me. But it's really cool. And yeah,
Thank you. Well, thank you, Tom. That was an excellent review. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you've had such a good experience.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and like I said, I've used it a couple times too. Uh, like bringing, like just carrying food and stuff. Like if I am going to like barbecue or party or something. It's just like a really simple way to kind of securely and conveniently carry anything on your lap, and that's kind of meant to speak to. It's not, I don't think, just for groceries. I mean, I have my side bag and stuff, but there have just been many, many, many instances in which I've been navigating my way to school or to a life event or an occasion where I've had to come bearing, certain items, whatever they may be, whether it's food or just other stuff that I need to carry to set up for a booth or an event or something at Live to, an Abilities Expo or to a hotel or something like that. It's a very convenient, accessible carry-all. I like to say, and I just love that you can store it easily too, because that's like kind of my big thing with lots of accessible devices is, and I think they're very unique and functional in their own way. But again, how easy is it for me to use this in my everyday life? And I'd rate the lap snap as very easy to use. One, it's very easy to grab and get going and to just pop up, but also it just feels good. It feels functional. I've had and used many other accessible and assistive devices, and they can be functional in very specific circumstances or certain instances, but then I find maybe it getting in my way more than I wish that it would, where I'm just like, oh gosh, it's like hardly worth the trouble for the accessibility that it provides. So the fact that I don't know, I found this maybe even more of a convenience versus hindrance, speaks, I think, very much so for it. Um,
I just want to address really quickly in the comments, somebody asked about the list price and somebody else is being silly and given a fake list price. I wanted to let people know if you go to our website, it costs $150. If you use code live to roll, you can get $25 off. And for any of your listeners that are on SSI or SSDI, we sell the lap snap at our manufacturing cost, which is $75 plus shipping, which depending on where you live is usually around like $20 for those on those programs. So
That's really cool. Very
Wow, that's really cool. Honestly, I've never heard of anybody else offering that, which is amazing. Um, I mean, that's really, really, really special and really cool.
yeah.
And I think I don't know, it's important to support small businesses too. I think somebody could look at the $125 cost or the $150 cost and be like, oof. And I mean, I can relate. Anybody, I think, living on SSI or SDI or relying on social services, understands. And in today's world, maybe not even relying on social services. I mean, the cost of everything is exorbitant. And let alone, accessible tools and assistive devices. But in order to, we need to support good creators. We need to support good businesses that support our community. The reality is, businesses at the end of the day, they got to make money, and in order to develop more products, in order to make things cheaper in the future, and especially for small businesses, it's the price of playing. Is you gotta try to make money, you gotta try to make a living. It does not come without, I'm sure, incredible effort and work and countless hours of time to, um, first of all, engineer, develop something like this, but also to manufacture and then sell. Many, many steps in the process, a huge amount of work. But when there's awesome businesses that are clearly very supportive of our community, um, seems to have a really intimate understanding of the struggles that we face, and it seems to have a huge heart and desire to try to support our community, not only providing great tools, but also meaningful service and access to these tools. We must support them. So we're gonna sing and yell "In Clue" from the mountaintops because you are
thank
exactly that.
you. I know a
And
lot
in
of
Clue,
adaptive tech can be really expensive, and it is something that I have definitely tried to minimize, but I also at the same time didn't want to compromise on the quality. Like Tom has one, you've all I think touched the product. It's very like durable materials. I want it to be something that you can buy and not have to buy again. It's really heavy duty material. Unless you're like, I don't know, storing a bunch of knives in your lap snap. That might mess it up. But like other than that, you shouldn't have to buy another lap snap. It's really, really high quality materials. It's all made in the US and it's partially made by people with disabilities. So I really wanted to support, on both ends of that. And at the same time, some of the extra costs, like we make sure to pay all our user testers an ethical wage as well, because I know that a lot of the disability community is famously underpaid for its labor and or unpaid for its labor, especially in the kind of, oh, hey, you're the one disabled person in the office. Do you mind weighing in on how we can make our product, our services more accessible for everybody? So yeah, it's definitely something that I have wrestled with over the years, but that compromise has turned out to be the SSI/SSDI pricing. And so far, at least, all the wheelchair users that I've spoken to on both sides of that equation have been in favor of it. So,
well, I think it's honestly, I'm kind of made speechless a little bit by that. It seems like a very simple and effective solution. I mean, I'm just trying to think of any other example of something like that. And I do know that if you are, at least in California, uh, like user of Comcast or Spectrum or something, you can verify and prove you have a disability and limited income. They'll give you a discount on your internet. But I still like can't think of another example where a company's doing something like that. But at the same time, it seems like a very reasonable, meaningful solution to providing reasonable access to that population. And I just can't understand how or why I haven't come across this idea before. But that's very, very cool. And I just think it's really, really
That
awesome.
opens up the accessibility hugely for people because sometimes that price point is the reason why people with disabilities don't buy certain products and things. So yeah, no,
Totally.
that's honestly really great. So
Well, I think it actually goes beyond accessibility. I mean, right now we're speaking on equality.
mhm.
Equality for individuals with disabilities is just so. And I honestly didn't even realize until this like last 2 or 3 years, until I started speaking more with more disabled individuals on the podcast and just in general on how far we have to go in society to improve on our equality um, in almost every aspect. And it's not just accessibility when we go outside, but equality when it comes to just what we're talking about now, buying things, particularly accessible devices, equality when it comes to healthcare, equality when it comes to representation in movies and TV and advertisement and branding and representation in our culture and our society. So that's awesome, Diana. And oh no, I'm gonna start talking about this with other businesses and more people because what an awesome idea that is. Have you
Thank
had
you.
many customers take advantage of that?
Yeah, a fair number. It's a slightly more recent. We had some problems getting it set up on our website, but now that it's been up, we've had several people use it in the last year or so. So yeah, it seems to be working out.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome.
Cool.
Um, is there any plans for Inclu beyond the lap snap? I know it's probably a whole lot of work just with one, um, you know, one device like this. But yeah, is there any plans for the future?
Yeah, so right now the only things that are available are the standard lap snap and the Lulum adaptations, but we're working right now on a smaller version as our first kind of next step. I'm calling it the half snap in my mind. I don't know if that's going to be the working title once it gets out there, but because the two biggest kind of complaints that I've heard from people are the price and the size, I'm working on one that's ideally half the size, half the price for other kinds of situation. So the original app snap would be obviously preferred for something like grocery shopping where you've got a lot of items. You want to be able to, get a bunch of groceries at once so you don't have to roll a mile each way every day. But if you're just, using it more like a handbag or, going to something where you might want to carry your items that you need for the day, your medications, your wallet, stuff like that, but you don't necessarily need this huge bag. We're working on a smaller one. But I've also got lots of ideas for things down the line that either, might take a little bit more time. Like one of the things that I really want to pursue is I know that a lot of reacher grabbers don't work well for people who have quadriplegia because of the squeezing motion necessary, and so I really like to work on something like that. And I would really like to. I mean, I really enjoy working with the community. So if any of your listeners have any ideas that they're like, I would really love for you to create a solution for X that I might not know about, not being a wheelchair user myself, I would love if they would reach out and see if we can collaborate because the design process is my favorite part. I've kind of gotten more focused on the business in the last couple of years because, like you said, we are a business. We don't have to stay in business. We don't have to make money. So I got a master's, all that good stuff. But I am an engineer and a designer at heart. So anybody who has something that they'd love to work on with somebody who they might have more of the lived experience, but I might have more of the design knowledge. I'd love to hear from you guys and see what we can work on together.
Where can we get in touch with you? Where's the best place to get connected?
Yeah, great question. So you can email us at thelapsnap@gmail.com. You can find our website, thelapsnap.com, which Shawn already said is in the show notes. So if there's like a messaging, contact us platform on there. We're on Instagram and Facebook at include.design. And I would love to hear from you guys on any of those platforms.
I am a self-professed grabber ninja. I got
Yeah,
some crazy ninja skills with my reacher.
the only quad I
But
ever seen do that stuff though.
uh, I love it. I rely on my grabber every day. I use it throughout the day. I'd say I probably don't go more than 2 or 3 hours without grabbing my reacher and using it for something. And I have like three of them throughout my house, and they're all different brands, and I have different uses and ideas and qualms with each of them. But I hope I can be the first one on the list to maybe talk and collab with you in regards to future projects and designs and stuff. Uh, I have a passion for it as well, but also my favorite thing more than anything is just talking with other individuals, especially other individuals who are passionate and inspired to work on this kind of stuff. So that's really awesome. And I just also before we get too far along or too close to the end here, I did want to speak about the material of the lap snap as well. Super, super awesome material. I don't know. I don't even know if I carried a knife in this bad boy if it would cut it. It's very weatherproof as well. It just feels really sturdy. It's not abrasive. It's a little grippy, which I kind of like. It stays on my lap like pretty good, as long as there's not too much stuff in it and I'm at a decent angle with my tilt. But I love that it's just kind of semi weatherproof, especially as the winter approaches and we start to get rainy days. I'm really excited to rely on the cover to just make my traversal home a little bit easier for um, my grocery chips and beyond. And also the quantity in which you can store in here. It's more than I uh, will very often buy at the supermarket. I tend to be not an everyday shopper, but about a once a week shopper. I'll get my groceries for the week. One, it is kind of hard to get too many groceries home at once. The Loud Snap is a solution to maybe getting a little bit more quantity home. But I found that I don't know. I did my week's worth of groceries and everything fitted here really solid. There wasn't anything overflow. It wasn't even a tight fit. So I don't know. That I think is just an important note too. I mean, 7 days worth of groceries is a big deal. And if you're organized and you plan things right, it's like should be more than enough for you. And it fit a week's worth of groceries super super easy. So even if you wanted to push that and bring down your frequency of shopping, I sure this would be a really great solution to that as well. Um, but the rest you're gonna have to check out the lab snap in use on the literal Instagram. It'll be coming out in the next couple days, and also please go check out the website. There's pictures. I think there's some video on the website as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
uh, the some individuals utilizing it in the way that I'm talking about, and yeah, go check it out. And please, if you're interested, utilize that code to save yourself some money. Um, and yeah, was there anything else that we wanted to bring to the table, Sean or Bobby, that you guys wanted to touch
Now,
on and
before you
cover?
got on, we also and and it looks like Shawn got in there $25 off with the code Live to Roll. We got off our sponsors. Talked about some things coming up at the Rancho games over the line. So
Here's another question that I wanted to touch on too. When we first met, Diana, one of the many amazing connections we had an opportunity of making at the LA Abilities Expo. If I'm not mistaken, that was the
The
first one we
Rolex
met at.
experience.
And then
Oh no,
the
you guys
Rolex
met at
Expo.
the LA
Yeah,
Expo. That's right. First,
and then at the Rolex experience. Now I know our buddy Roy asked what the Rolex experience was. So one, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. The Rolettes Experience are a group of dancers, but they're more than dancers. The Rolettes is I always want to say it's like a empowerment group for women with disabilities because they are very much in that space. But they're also a women's dance team, and they host an event every year during the summer in Los Angeles, which is like their home base. And they bring out lots of young women from all over the world, all over the U.S. and all over the world, to participate in a workshop for a few days. We were lucky enough to be one of the vendors at the Rolettes Experience this year, but so was Diana
Yeah.
with Input and the Laugh Snap. So, how was your experience on the circuit, man? How did you enjoy the Abilities Expo? How did you enjoy the Rolettes Experience? How did they compare?
Oh, it was awesome. I'd never been to an abilities expo before. I've been wanting to go for the past couple of years, but COVID kept getting in the way. I got COVID both in 2021 and 2, the weekend of the New York Metro one, which is my closest one. I located in Boston. Sadly, they don't have the Boston one anymore. So I was like, screw it. I need to clearly go to a different one. And LA, I've heard, is really excellent. So I came out and it was awesome. I didn't have a booth or anything. I got to come and meet you guys at your booth. But I was just walking around and I had a local wheelchair user who was kind of walking around with the lap snap showing it off as well. So I was just kind of, meeting people and I made a lot of great connections there, including that's where I met the Rolettes and they invited me to come be part of their event. So it was really awesome. Both events were really cool. I really enjoy seeing other small businesses that are in this space, and a lot of them I've reached out to and working on how we can collaborate, and now here I am on your podcast, and the Rolex experience was also really, really cool. I love women empowerment events, and hanging out with all disabled women for a weekend is like perfect for me. I really had a great time hanging out next to you guys and also meeting all of these really cool women that I've only ever, interacted with online before. And now I finally got to meet them in real life. And I was really, really, felt really fortunate to be there.
Yeah,
And yeah, Nikki just said it too. Shout out to the Rolettes fam. They are an awesome organization, and they've been really fun to work with too. Just ditto what Diana said in regards to the expo. It was really special thing to see all these women, especially I think like this younger generation, have such an inclusive space. It feels so different, and I don't know. You got to really kind of be there and feel it, like experience it to know what I'm talking about. But when you are in the room with a few
they,
hundred wheelchairs and the able-bodied people are the minority, and it's just fully inclusive and empowering and accessible, and it just feels like such a safe space to be who you truly are. It was awesome. It was awesome to experience personally. It was also different. A little different than the Abilities Expo, and that the Abilities Expo is great too, and that also feels very in a very similar way, with just the all the wheelchairs, all the different disabilities represented, all the inclusivity. But there's so many people at the Abilities Expo, and that's special in its own way. But it also can be a little overwhelming, and a little bit more difficult in that you only get to interact for a minute or two with each person, whereas something like the Rolex experience, we got to spend a weekend with a bunch of awesome people, and I'd have to say that it was a little bit different, unique in that respect, and I did enjoy that part of it a little bit more, just being able to connect with the attendees a little bit more and the other vendors. And also shout out to Chelsea. She's on the cover of Women's Health magazine this month, which is
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
huge, big deal. So that is very awesome. And yeah, we had an opportunity to connect with them anymore, which is really, really cool. And one of the really other awesome, great things to come out of the Rolex experience. Our friend Mark Fugleman was there with abilities too, and it just was a really fun event in our backyard too. Um, Diana, as we approach the end here, I like to ask our guests. if they have any advice out there for maybe some newly injured individuals. We do have a pretty decent viewership that are newly injured individuals, maybe particularly in regards to accessible devices or accessible tools. Do you have any maybe any general advice to give out there for
I
any of
was
our viewers?
I was gonna add in, or anybody that might be interested in design, since you are, you have the background in design. Just throw that in there
Sure,
also on Tom's question.
I'll hit both of those. So, for somebody who's newly injured or newly disabled in any kind of capacity, I would say find your people is like my best advice, and finding people that have been doing it for longer. So, one of my invisible disabilities is I have celiac, and so connecting with other people who had celiac for longer was a really important step for me when I first got diagnosed. I was 16, and the idea of trying to find, gluten-free foods now is way easier, but 10 years ago there were like, three things at my local shopping center in Kentucky. And so, creating community and finding people with recipes or, different, just advice for what happens when you get a flare up or what you do. And I'm sure that for many other kinds of disabilities or injuries that, finding community is a similar, way to find both, life hacks, but also excessive assistive technology that might be right for you. And in terms of, somebody who might be interested in getting into design, I think if you're interested in design or engineering in any capacity, like learn about assistive tech and learn about accessibility now, because if you make something accessible from the start, everybody wins. Like anything that any disabled person can use, like pretty much any non-disabled person is going to be able to use too. And most often it's easier for them to use if it's already accessible for somebody with a disability. So if you want to make products of any kind, it doesn't matter if you don't think like, oh, kitchen implements, they don't need to be accessible, or, cars or whatever. Like everything needs to be accessible to different communities and in different ways. And so if you learn about accessibility and learn about the history of the disability community as part of your engineering education or as part of your design education, I think you're going to be a better designer for whoever you're designing for, whatever kind of products you're making. And, the disability community has been unfortunately overlooked for so long in the design process that is really like ripe for innovation. It's like the lap snap is not a complicated product, right? It's very straightforward. I was not the only person who could have designed this. I just happened to be the first person who cared enough to. And so I think young people, especially, are really excited about social justice and, working with and for different communities that have been underserved in the past. And I think that's one of the most awesome things about Gen Z and other young folks. And so I would just encourage anyone who might be younger or older, if you're looking to get into a career change, there's no time like the present. So if you're thinking about going into that kind of field of career, like please do find ways to educate yourself about the disability community. It's such an important part of our work as designers to, improve the world for not just ourselves, but for everybody.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diana, for being a voice and a representative of our community. Somebody who's doing something different in the way of design and equality and accessibility by providing, cool assistive technology to, the hands of individuals with disabilities who really need it. Being a positive force and a positive point in this conversation, too, because you said it. It feels like there's like some embers glowing, and if we just can fan the fire a little bit, the conversation is being had more, accessibility is being seen more, the conversation surrounding equality and accessibility is something that I think we can continue to have louder and more often as well. So we just really appreciate you being here on the Live to Roll podcast and a part of that conversation.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. I keep my lap snap in the corner of the room just behind me. It will probably be in continuing future episodes. I'll see if I can maybe prop it up too, because we do want to sing the praises of Include from the mountaintops, because at Lips Roll, we are here about representing great communities that are doing great things for people in our space and in our community. So if you guys do want to know more information about it too, please reach out to any one of us directly. But like I said before, really encourage you guys to go check out the website and maybe take advantage of that discount too and get yourself one. I don't think you'll regret it. In fact, I know you won't. Take my word for it. Um, and yeah, you guys said we already covered the sponsors.
Yeah, we can go just a quick rundown again. Just thank our sponsors one more time. Thank you to mobility professionals, urology professionals. All their information's down below if you guys want to check them out. Urology professionals is nationwide, anywhere in the U.S. If you're looking for catheter supplies, contact them. They'll take care of you. They're great people. And Bobby was talking about a lot of different events locally in Southern California this next few weeks. A lot of adaptive sports stuff. They're at all the events. A lot of us will be at some of these events and stuff, especially over the line. And
Did my hey Shawn, did my email go out on the chat?
I don't know if it did. I can put it in there
Yeah.
if you need.
Yeah, somebody was asking how to get a hold of me because they don't have Instagram. But yeah, if you want to put my email there so they can grab it.
I can add it. I can even just make sure that's in the description for people on all our videos, since you don't have. Yeah. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll make sure that. And like Tom was saying, check out the Lap Snap on the website. It's It's in the description as well. Their Instagram also. So check out everything. And yeah, thank you, Diana, for coming on.
Thank you,
And then
Diana.
let's also shout out. We got Tom back tomorrow doing some gaming. Wednesday nights, every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 Eastern. So if you guys are around, you want to hang out, do some gaming, join Tom in some gaming. It's always a super fun stream. Just a good little longer form hangout, but it's awesome. And this Thursday, we got the Women's Disability Show. First Thursday of the month. Women are back on. I'll have to figure out the topic. I'm actually got to message Brandon right now. What's up?
He was just laughing at you. It's going to be a great topic. We're not sure what it is yet, but bet your bottom dollar you're not going to want to miss it. Brianna is super awesome. Anybody who's seen the show before knows that. So please make sure to join us on Thursdays as well. Thursdays, I feel like, is becoming our best day. Everybody I talk to say the women's show and Rolling Over the Hill are their favorite shows. So
I know
we're going to have
everybody.
to step up the Tuesday show, Shawn.
I guess so, man. But yeah, Bobby will be on the next Thursday with Robert and Luis, rolling over the hill, talking about aging with disability for everybody. So make sure to check that out. Follow, click the little bell if you're already subscribed, so you get notifications when we're coming on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. And anything. Oops, didn't want to pop that back up, but. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Diana, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you joining us and all that you have done with the Lap Snap and making it accessible for everybody, especially with that price thing for SSI. That's honestly just an incredible thing that you're doing.
It's light enough for a quadriplegic to pick up over his head. I mean, come on. No better selling point than that. Go and get yourself a snap. You guys, it's really, really awesome. You're be supporting an amazing small business, and you'll be doing a service and a benefit to yourself by making your life a little bit more accessible and a little easier.
And real quick at the end, Roy actually asked, is there any place where people might be able to show off their own inventions? And would you know any place like that, Diana? Because you being from the design world, is there something like that? You can share them with Diana. She might be able to help you get it going in design.
Hit me up. It depends on what kind of invention you've got. I mean, if you want to work with a company, or if you're more of an independent creator, I mean, anything like Etsy or having your, just your own website. That's how we started. But as people get larger, they can, go on to bigger marketplaces like Amazon and stuff. Oh, one place I will mention is not necessarily, depending on what stage you're at, you might not be ready, but for those of you who are looking to get your products out there or just learn about more products for the disability community, there's a wonderful website called pattyandricky.com. It's PATTIANDRICKY.com. and that is a marketplace specifically for products made by and or for people with disabilities. So the Lap Snap is on there. We've got some awesome canes, awesome other small businesses making adaptive products, as well as like jewelry made by people with disabilities and stuff like that. So if you're starting your holiday shopping early, or you're looking to, maybe get your product out there, Roy, if you have a product ready to go, maybe reach out to them. If you have a product that's not quite ready to go yet, reach out to me. So
Perfect.
Hit up that patent office before you start showing off your brilliant ideas too soon. Make sure that they don't get taken by anybody else. I would say that social media is another great place, and for kind of more third party stuff, I think you'd be surprised on what you find on websites like Etsy and stuff in the way of cool creators and maybe some unique accessible items and devices. And I'd say the majority are just small businesses and kind of like smaller people doing it. So do some research and do some Googling. The internet can be your friend in this regard too. I don't know, my shower chair is like from a quad in the Midwest who kind of does it out of his garage and is on your own and stuff. And I don't know, sometimes it's like finding the diamond in the rough too with some of these smaller businesses in terms of getting exactly what you need. But appreciate you guys. Darren's gonna buy one and start delivering pizzas with it. That's what he said. I'm here. I'm here for that idea. Let me get in on that business floor. I'll be a delivery man. And Roy, you can reach out to Diana. All the information is just below on the website, or you can message her directly on Instagram. Um, and yeah,
definitely.
All right, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Tune into the shows the rest of the week and next week, and live to roll, everybody.